guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. A recent video I did was about bill of ladings and what happens when you pick up the shipper from the shipper, and you know, things to look for on the bills. And then I realized from some of the comments that I didn't say anything about going to receivers and what happens with products that are damaged or rejected, or they're short on cases or product or whatever it is. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. The first thing you need to understand is that when you go into a customer after getting unloaded, make sure you just don't grab the bills and walk away. Go through every page of the bills and make sure that there aren't any kind of notations anywhere. Sometimes people do this weird shorthand type of thing and you can't even understand what the heck they're trying to say. And it might just be like a dash and then a number. So what they're trying to say is they got shorted a couple cases. You wouldn't know that. If there was no product on the trailer, you wouldn't know that they were shorted unless you really paid attention to the notes on there. So make sure that you read the bills. Make sure if you have questions about their notes that you question them with the bills. Something that some customers do is they'll count the pallets as pieces. So say it says you have 100 cases and you have 5 pallets with those 100 cases. The piece count might say 105, but the case count says 100. So when you're looking at it, you might say, oh man, they're short 5 cases, but that's not the actual truth. So pay attention to that, because you might stress yourself out or misunderstand and waste your time going back in to try to understand what's going on. Something that people don't do, not all people, but newer people, they just get rushed, and it goes back to another video where I said slow down, but you know, are you going to make mistakes? They get rushed and then they don't even look in the back of their trailers. You need to look. The reason you need to look is that those people, sometimes they'll leave cases on the trailer that they didn't even think was theirs. Maybe the shipper put the wrong product on the trailer, they took off what they had ordered, and there's product on there that they don't recognize as being theirs, so they never notated it on your bills to say that there was an overage. When you look at the products, make sure you're looking at the UPC codes, and they always have some kind of a code on there. The code should match a product number on your bills. Most of the time they will, and it'll be really easy for you to determine which product that is. At Prime, when we go through our process macros and everything, you do notify dispatch that there is some sort of a what we call claim, because if it's overage, it's short, or it's damaged, we have to report to our claims department. So you notify dispatch, tell them that there's a problem with the load and you're contacting our claims department. When you call claims on our phone app at Prime, we can take a picture of the item, so we can show them the damaged product, we can show them the product number and fill out a report that way. And then when you call claims, they will give you a claim number that you write down on the bill of lading. They will also contact the customer and find out what it is that they want you to do with that product. Some places will not take the product if it has a punctured cardboard box. Everything else in it is fine. Yes, I just dropped my pen because I'm a klutz. But everything else in it is fine. But the outside cardboard box is damaged, so they reject it. A lot of times you'll find out that it's their forklifts from the receiver that actually punctured those boxes to begin with, and then they reject them. The claims department will tell you what to do, and sometimes they'll just say throw the product out. Sometimes they'll just be like, well, they don't want it, you can dispose of it. If you want to keep it, you can keep it. If you want to throw it out, if you want to go walk through a truck stop and get rid of it, whatever you need to do. There are other times that they may say, well, that's the kind of product we want you to take to a food bank. So sometimes they'll tell you exactly what food bank is in the area that they want you to go to, and sometimes they'll just say, well, call up, you know, a church or a local food bank or something and make arrangements. Sometimes Salvation Army and places like that you can find just on Google, and they'll come and pick it up from you. Some will want you to deliver it to them. But when you do that and you make a donation to one of those organizations, they will give you a donation sheet for taxes. And then when you scan in your trips, you have to give that donation certification sheet in, so that the original shipper can use that as a tax deduction. So one of the ways to prevent claims and damaged products is always make sure you have things secured. Now, if you're drive-in, you're most likely using straps. If you're going to be reefer, you're going to be using the load locks, and, you know, be smart about it. Like, if you have all the pallets are 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and then you have one on the end, if you just put the bar this way, like, guys, tell me how drive-in would do that. Do pallets on drive-in? Comment down below, like, because if you have one pallet on the front, the smart thing to do would be put a load lock this way, and then put a load lock going floor to ceiling to brace the side so it can't fall over. So this way it can't go this way, but if you brace it floor to ceiling, then it can't fall to the side either. One of your first protections is securement. And if you are a lease op and you don't secure your load properly, you could be held liable monetarily. Like, they could actually say you have to pay X amount of dollars for that damaged product. Thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how bad the damage was and if the customer rejected the entire load. Sometimes it's possible that your company may be able to find another customer that's willing to take that load. Like, I know one time I wound up getting cherries from Del Monte. Del Monte had me take it to 2 different Walmarts. Both Walmarts rejected it. Why they made me go to both Walmarts, I don't know, because of the fact that Walmart's policy is that if one store rejects it, the other ones will too. But I guess CYA type of stuff, they made me go and deliver. And so both Walmarts reject it. They rejected it, saying that the cherries were pitted and bruised, and I'm going to tell you, no, they weren't. So instead of me having to go donate 20 pallets of cherries, Del Monte actually told Prime that they had another customer that was willing to take those cherries. So I wound up getting paid from Jersey to Michigan and Indiana to the 2 Walmarts to take them all the way back to Jersey, believe it or not. And I get paid by the mile, so I didn't care. So there are different ways that claims can be handled and what you do with the product. Each company may have a different procedure, so make sure that when you're in training, you find out about the procedure. When you're in training, you don't always see every little itty-bitty possibility that can happen out here. Like, I did a whole 30,000, 35,000 miles with one of my students, and we never did a claim, not once. So, you know, you may not see something like this in training, but you still know how to respond to it. You need to know how to respond to it. So make sure you ask your trainer. Make sure you ask your dispatcher, fleet manager. You may likely have a claims department. I have a claims department at Prime. You can walk in or call up the claims department and ask them, what is the procedure on handling this? What is normal? Another issue that can create damaged product, not just not securing properly, but also your driving. You know, when you're newer, you're not going to be able to handle the rig as well as somebody that's experienced. Of course you're not. You're still learning. And people think that you're just going to come out here and after you go to CDL school for a couple weeks or 3 weeks or a month or however they have it set up, you're going to get on a truck and you're going to be able to handle it. And that's not true. You're going to be learning for months to a year Seriously. And it may change depending on how many trucks you wind up driving, because each truck can handle differently. The wheel, the swing movement, like the room you need to swing could handle differently. The backing up could be different. I beeped again. I gotta stop doing this. But, you know, backing up and the angles could be different. If you're swapping trailers a lot, you know, the weights of the trailers and the tires of the trailers may all play a little bit of a part in how you handle the rig and how the rig feels to you. So, all of these things can affect how you drive, and how you drive can affect that load. If you take a curve too fast and the trailer starts to tilt where you get a critical event for, you know, for like a rollover critical event, and I'll do a video on critical events next, but you know, that load can shift, especially if you didn't properly secure it. So that could be an issue. Slamming on your brakes. There was somebody that I know who, again, didn't put the load locks in properly and had a meat load, had a hard brake where he slammed on the brakes and the product came flying to the front of the trailer and the whole load was rejected. So it's not just a matter of, oh, the shipper got it wrong, or oh, the product was short, or you know, the receiver damaged it with the forklift. It's also a matter of, how did I lock this in place? How did I drive? And I will tell you that one time I was rushing to get home. I was going on home time. I was really excited because I was meeting a friend and we were going to go down the shore. And down the shore, my Jersey, right? My Jersey thing. Most people go to the shore. In Jersey, we go down the shore. But, so I was rushing, and I scanned the bills and I didn't actually look at them. And it wasn't until a few days later when I wound up getting back on the truck and going back to work that I went looking through the bills and I was like, oh crap. It was a Kellogg's load and they were shorted like 5 pieces or something. And I was really, really upset. I called up the claims department and I didn't know it at the time, but it was the head of claims that answered the phone. And I really, you know, I expected to get reamed out. And he asked me, didn't you notice it? And I flat out told him I accepted responsibility, which will be another video. But I accepted responsibility and I told him, honestly, no, I didn't notice it. I was in a rush and I was coming home and I really, you know, it's my fault. I admit it. You know, if they want me to pay for it, I'll pay for it. And he just said, no, this is one of our customers that they really don't give us too much of a problem with these kind of things. So just really, really try in the future to make sure that you ask any questions and, you know, you look over the bills 2 or 3 times just to realize what you're looking at and to make sure everything's, you know, kosher. So I hope that gives you some insight into claims. And I'm trying to think of claims that I've had. I've had prime rib and ribeyes, like 50 pounds, that were rejected. And again, it was just because the cardboard box on the outside was damaged. I've had Sargento cheese that was like a grated cheese, but it had all different mixtures of Parmesan and different kinds of cheese that were together. And it was like one of those shaker things. I think I had like probably 10 jars of that I was giving out to people on the highway and I took home. And yogurt, all kinds of things, pineapples. And there's only been about 3 times where I was told to go take things to food banks, and they were usually like really big cases of chicken. There was one time I was down in Montgomery, Alabama at a TA, and I was told to throw away 2 whole pallets of frozen food, and it was all like Encore dinners and Swanson like TV dinners and pot pies and hot pockets and stuff like that. And I just opened up the back of the trailer and I went over to the people that were in the gas lines and stuff, and I was just like, look, I'm giving free food away, come on over. And I jumped in the back of the trailer and I just was handing food out to people. And I'm not going to throw it away. I can't do that. There's too many starving people in this country that I'm not going to do that. And, you know, would I rather donate it to like a food bank? Absolutely. Sometimes that's not always possible. One time I had pork loin and I was up on I-95, like up in Vermont or someplace like that. Maybe it wasn't 95. I don't know, but I was up near Maine or Vermont. I know I was going to pick up Ben and Jerry's ice cream up there, so I was pretty far up. And so I had to get rid of all this pork, and I called up a nursing home. And the nursing home, it was the only thing that was around that was close enough that they sent somebody over, a volunteer, to come pick up all the meat. And, you know, it was a nice way to, you know, maybe give somebody else a little bit of pleasure or joy, or, you know, maybe they don't get that kind of food. I don't know, but that is one cool thing that's out here, is that even if we're able to help a little bit like that, of course it wasn't my product, but you know, I had a decision. So do I want to just throw it out, or do I want to try to help people? I'd rather help people. There are some people that would just say, screw it, I'm gonna just go throw it away and I'm gonna get rolling because this is a waste of my time. And the truth of the matter is, no, I don't get paid for my time to go deal with that kind of thing. But I couldn't live with myself if I told myself it was more important for me to get to my next load than to make sure that there were people who could have enjoyed that product, especially when it comes to things like cases of chicken and, you know, ribeye steaks and stuff like that. I'm not throwing that out. Please comment below and tell us what claims you remember having. Was there anything that was difficult? I know there was one I had that was in Atlanta, and I got scared because I had to drive through downtown Atlanta, and the directions that the food bank gave me made me make a really sharp left turn that I was never going to make. And I'm in downtown Atlanta, pulled the brakes, had my flashers on right in the middle of the street, and I was like trying to use Google and I couldn't find a way out. And all of a sudden I see a truck pulling out of a driveway up in front of me, and I'm like, yes, salvation. So I wound up going up there, and there was a big warehouse, and I asked the security guard and if I could turn around, and I told her what happened. I was like, I'm trying to find the food bank. And she says, you're not going to believe this, I volunteer there. And she told me exactly how I could go, and I was like, are you sure I could take the truck down there? She says, yep. So, you know, be nice to people. This is another video I'm going to do, but be nice to people. It was like Atlanta, it was like 100 degrees, and I had frozen Snicker bars and push-up pops in the freezer. So I wound up giving them to her, and she was like, oh wow, you are like the sweetest driver. She's like, I can't believe, and she's like, God bless you. And it was close to Christmas too, and she was like, you know, Merry Christmas, and I hope you get to home to your family. And you know, so it was really nice. And you know, not everything out here is bad and evil, and even when you get into tough situations, like I really didn't know where I was going, but I stopped and I slowed down, and I wasn't worried about everybody around me. They don't know if my transmission just died. They're just gonna have to wait. And so so I hope that gives you some information into how you deal with damaged products, claims, shortages, you know, how companies will deal with it. Make sure that you ask your trainer or your fleet manager how you need to deal with it. And please like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share, ring the little notification bell so you get all of my videos. And I hope to see you out here trucking along. Bye.